Welcome back, everyone, to another Skywars Storytime. It has been a minute since I've done one of these, but I had an idea for one, so here we go. So all these stories are going to kind of center around things I did as a child that at the time seemed like pretty normal and reasonable things to do. But now, like, as an adult looking back, I'm just like, what was I doing back then? Like, why did I think these were normal things to do? So a little bit of context for these. They all take place from when I was about 4 to 6 years old, just to give you guys kind of like a timeline there. Also, I learned to talk at an extremely young age, and I also had zero social awareness, which is just an absolutely wild combination to have. And I'm guessing that probably had an influence for the things I'm about to describe. So let's just get straight into it. This first story starts out in the car, and I'm with my mom, and she's driving me to a babysitter's house so she can watch me and my mom can get some stuff done. So I'm in the back seat, and I'm biting my arm because not like hard or anything, but just like enough to make like little marks on my arm, because I guess that was entertaining to me or something. I had very low standards back then when it came to entertainment, apparently. But anyways, I'm biting my arm and I'm looking at the little marks it's making, like the teeth marks. And I show them to my mom and I'm like, hey, Mom, like, what is this? Like, why does it do that? And she's like, oh, that's called an imprint. And I'm like, oh, cool. Like, amazing. So anyways, we get to the babysitter's house and we walk inside. And my mom introduces herself, like is describing like, okay, here's all the stuff you need to do. Here's how you make sure she doesn't die while she's here, just stuff like that. So anyways, she gets to the end of her little explanation there. And she's like, all right, Jebek, like, go say hi. And instead of being like, oh, hello, how are you? My name's Jebek, blah, 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 blah. I walk up to this poor girl. I look her dead in the eyes, point to the bite marks I've been making on my arm and just go, imprint. And she's just like, oh, cool. Like, literally, what are you supposed to say to that? Honestly, she was really nice about it. If that would have been me, I would have been like, get out of my house. I can't deal with this right now. What is wrong with you? So anyways, I guess I thought that was a normal way to introduce yourself to someone. We actually ended up having a really great time. So apparently she wasn't too scarred by what I had said. But anyways, that's what happened there. So this second story, ironically, also involves a babysitter. I was just a menace to these poor people. It's a miracle they could find anyone to watch me. This one takes place at my house. And that afternoon, I had been learning about hibernation and like how bears and other animals, but mostly bears, will go into caves and they'll just like sleep the whole winter and then wake up in the spring. And I was like, oh, that's a great idea. Like, I wonder why people don't do that. And I decided right then and there that I was going to hibernate all winter. Could not tell you why. I guess it just seemed interesting to me. I don't know. So my first and only step to prepare for hibernation was to decorate my room to look like a cave, because how am I supposed to hibernate if I don't have a cave to sleep in? So I start drawing like bats and bugs and all sorts of things, and I cut them out and then I'm putting them on my walls. And my mom shows up and she's like, hey, Jebek, we have 2 sisters coming over that are gonna babysit you. What are you doing? And I'm like, oh, I'm preparing to hibernate for the winter. My mom's just like, oh, okay. Like, she's used to this by now. So anyways, these girls get here and I recruit them to help me make these decorations so I can hibernate. I can make my room look like a cave. And for whatever reason, these girls were not as enthusiastic about this whole activity as I was, but it didn't matter. I literally forced them to help me. So we spent a long time decorating my room. We got everything put up. Perfect. And so I was just like, all right, see you guys in the spring. I'm going to go and sleep for 3 months. So I go into my room and I shut the door, I turn off my lights, and I am ready. I am so ready to hibernate. And I get into my bed and I try to fall asleep and I cannot sleep. For whatever reason, my body didn't want to hibernate for 3 months. So I was in there for maybe 10 minutes. And eventually I guess I just gave up. Like I went outside and we just continued with normal people activities. Gonna have to shelve the hibernation plan for another time. This last one is by far the weirdest one. Some context for this one. I was homeschooled for a year. I think it was like my second year of preschool. Just my mom decided to try that to see how it was going to work. Did not work well. But anyways, while she was homeschooling me, she would take me out to different places to kind of get me socialized, and she would like teach me random stuff or whatever. But one of the places she would take me was this whole like kids science museum. And they would have all these exhibits teaching you about like the 5 senses or how planets work or whatever. And my favorite, or I guess like least favorite, I don't know. One that stood out to me was this exhibit on decomposition. So in the middle of this exhibit, there was a fish tank filled with like flies and bugs and all sorts of weird things, and in the middle was a dead rat, and like the flies would like eat the dead rat. It was disgusting, and it scared me so bad. Like literally I was terrified. But instead of being like a normal person and just being like, oh, that kind of scares me, like I think I'm gonna avoid that, I became obsessed with it, and I would always like ask to go see the dead rat, and I would like look at it and then be freaked out by it because it's weird. Taking this to a completely new level, anytime I had the opportunity to draw something, I would draw this dead rat, and I would just draw it like constantly. Like it wasn't just like a one-off or a couple drawings. Like I vividly remember I had this notebook that my mom gave me to like draw like cute little drawings like normal kids do. No, I filled this thing cover to cover with the exact same drawing of this rat and all these flies around it. I could not tell you why. Tragically, I have turned my house upside down looking for this notebook because I know it's here somewhere. I can't find it. But good news, what I did find was my sister's notebook from about the same time. And I went through it, and apparently one day I decided, I guess as like my little gift to her, I would give her some of these rat drawings in her notebook as well. So I drew a couple in there and then just kind of, I guess, slipped it back onto her bookshelf and hoped she wouldn't notice or whatever. But anyways, all this is to say, I can show you guys on the screen what this rat drawing looked like. It's a true work of art, I know. But anyways, that's just a little snippet of my childhood. And I was just an extremely strange child. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed hearing about it.